Okay, New York officials are working to get that suspected shooter of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson back to the state to face those murder charges. Lawyers for Luigi Mangione contested extradition at a hearing in Pennsylvania yesterday. He's now being held without bail. On his way to the courthouse, Mangione shouted at reporters. Watch this.
Luigi, did you do it?
And completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people.
Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano, who's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and joins me now to talk more about this. So Lilia, tell us more about that outburst from Mangione, and did he have the same temperament in the courtroom yesterday?
Well, that was surprising, Vlad, to see that outburst. I mean, especially when you consider what police told us about what happened when he was arrested at the McDonald's, where, yes, they said he was visibly shaken, but it seems like he was answering questions, cooperating at first, but that he was arrested calmly and wasn't either resisting or turning violent. Yesterday, here's what the sense that I got from that outburst in front of the media, in front of the cameras, and from what I experienced inside that courtroom, is that he potentially is making it a bit of a show. He seemed performative in court. He showed up with with very straight standing, kind of confident. I don't know. I felt like at times he felt like he was. What's the word that I'm looking for? I don't want to say despondent, but like defiant. Like he was eyebrows up, kind of like somebody who feels like this is all beneath him. And that's part of what he said in that outburst. He said, this is an insult, this is an injustice, an insult to Americans' intelligence. He looked back. I felt like he made eye contact a few times, but he was staring at where the media was and seeing who was around. But he just had an attitude of like being annoyed, at times even bored, restless throughout the process. He responded at one point and jumped in and spoke into his attorney's microphone, which he's not supposed to do, and which his attorney told him to stop talking when he was being described by the prosecutor, by the district attorney here in Altoona, as a fugitive. He responded something like, I just bought the mask, when they were trying to say that the masks that he had were kind of proof or evidence that he was a flight risk and therefore should be denied bail. What happened yesterday? He was denied bail. The extradition, which I'm hearing from legal experts, it's rare that he would be contesting it, but he is contesting it. His attorney keeps saying, I haven't seen any evidence that connects him to the murder. Of course, NYPD investigators there are working as fast as they can to connect him to the crime scene, to have a solid case. But the attorney says that the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth, has not given him the proper documents to even begin the extradition. So there's a delay game here, and there's a speed-up process over in New York.
So that extradition that he's attempting to fight, Lilia, how will that complicate the opportunity for investigators here in New York to interrogate him?
Investigators are doing all the work with all of the evidence they have, and Altoona PD told me yesterday that all of the evidence that they gathered, it's already in the hands of the NYPD. They want nothing to do with this case in a way, even though they have one case. But with the homicide, they're saying, look, we're a small agency. They have all the resources. They're the ones with the murder investigation. So they're turning everything over to them. The delay is more in the procedure. Governor Kathy Hochul yesterday said that she will sign a warrant for his extradition. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg said something along the same lines about how they want him extradited ASAP. So how long this delay and this technical delay, and look, it sounds like the attorney is saying something that might have been a failure of the prosecution here of not providing the proper documentation with the official charges. It sounds like a technicality, but it still buys him 2 weeks that the judge gave the defense team to basically request the proper documentation. Beyond that, it's possible that the extradition order that comes from or warrant that comes from the governor of New York could supersede that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll be watching, and I know you will as well. Lilia reporting this morning from Altoona, Pennsylvania. We appreciate it.